Zack Wheeler showed us why this might be the year he gets his Cy Young, while Paul Skenes and Logan Gilbert battled in a masterclass in the Pacific Northwest. This is MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. That is JD Hafford, host of Locked On Cardinals. Catch him on social media at LO_Cardinals or his personal account at JD Sports Radio. And JD, a lot of stuff to get to today. Brandon Woodruff just might be back. The Yankees avoid getting swept. The Braves do not. But before we do that, this episode is brought to you by our friends at Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So Phillies won the series with a 3-1 win over the Reds. And I feel like that doesn't encapsulate how dominant of a win this was by Philly, and specifically Zack Wheeler. Here's our buddy Connor Thomas from Locked On Phillies on what Wheeler did today.
Give Zack Wheeler every single pitching award that exists. He's absolutely unbelievable. The Phils take down the Reds. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And Wheels was incredible today. Of course, it's Austin Hayes, who was on the team last year, that breaks up the no-hitter with a home run, breaks up the shutout, but don't care, man. He went a complete game, the first of the year for the Phils, and that's where this starts and ends, right? Well, I guess we also have to give some love to Bryson Stott, who had a big-time 3-run bomb in the 8th inning to make sure that the Phillies did not waste this Zack Wheeler start. Yeah, some people might say, oh, well, the offense, they almost blew it. They almost blew this great start. They didn't. They scored 4. They got the job done, and Zack Wheeler, he should start the All-Star game for the National League. He should win the Cy Young. Zack Wheeler for president, I don't even know. Give him every award on the planet. We're lucky to be able to watch him, and we're going to talk a lot more about it on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
Mayor of Philadelphia, maybe? I'd have given him that one. That makes more sense than president.
Yeah, president's that's going to be a tough one. I don't think Zach needs all that pressure. I think he likes where he's at on the mound. I think he's fine there.
Yeah, it's almost like a shame that he's wanting to retire when this contract is over. Like, it feels like he could keep doing this for a little while longer. 108 pitches, 54 swings, 22 whiffs, 13 whiffs on his fastball. He had more whiffs than he had foul balls off the fastball or ball. Only 4 fastballs were put into play off of Zack Wheeler. It's just absolutely absurd. And I believe that was the only real damage off of him was that one Austin Hayes solo shot. Just dominant there. I feel like you can't beat Philly if Wheeler's that good in a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's a special talent. Then you got, Christopher Sanchez doing what he's been doing as well. And
Ranger Suarez.
You got Ranger in there. We'll see if they ever get Aaron Nola figured out. But Phillies are also a team that, is not going to be shy about, well, we'll just go find another starter and bring him in and pay him. We don't care. We're more than happy to do that. So, yeah, Wheeler is he's just naughty, dude. He's so good and just is dominating in every way, shape, and form. So it's hard to disagree with Connor as far as starting the All-Star game. He's earned it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say he should not be the guy that does it. All right, so Cincinnati's off to Miami. I'm sorry, they're hosting Miami. Philly's off to San Francisco to take on the Giants. Another fantastic pitching matchup, kind of a theme here. Pirates at Mariners. Mariners won this one 1-0. This was Paul Skenes versus George Kirby. 26 strikeouts in this game, no walks, JD. Here's our buddy Gary from Locked On Pirates with just how Pittsburgh made history in this series against Seattle.
You guys won't believe this. The Pirates have set history once again. Major League Baseball history. No team has ever shut out another team in a 3-game series and then went on to be shut out in the next 3-game series, and the Pittsburgh Pirates just did that. Congratulations to everyone involved. The Pirates stopped hitting. This is Gary from Locked On Pirates. We're going to talk a lot about this tomorrow because last week we spent a lot of time talking about whether this was sustainable or not, and this weekend kind of showed, hey, it's not. This team just didn't have the same approach that they showed against the Mets and the Cardinals, and it worked so well. It's kind of insane that it doesn't look the same. Same lineup, same everything. Just completely different approach from batter to batter. Some guys, too, just continuing to stay cold. Brian Reynolds hasn't had a hit in July. And O'Neal Cruz, it's just not happening. He's close. He's making better contact. He's just not getting it over the wall. He's not putting a lot of impact out there. Still looks tentative at the plate. They've got a lot of work to do here on the offensive side of things. Before they even get to the trade deadline and decide what holes they need to patch, some of the things that are supposed to be filled better start looking like they're filled.
I've never seen this situation before. I'm glad he clarified that this was history. Shut out the Mets and then get shut out by the Mariners. Just absolutely wild.
Yeah. I mean, the Cardinals are the team that they shut out 3 times in a row, and then we were like, I was like, we didn't know how to beat them either. We were like, I don't know. Pittsburgh's just on a heater right now. And it just shows you how quickly it can reverse, like when some of these good teams, like when the Mets went cold or the Phillies go cold, Yankees right now, you see them go through some struggles. And even though they are good teams and everybody starts to panic, but this is just kind of the ups and downs of the season. And you just got to kind of ride the wave and know that your team's better than what they're seeing at this moment. But that's just how it is, and as good as Pittsburgh was against the Mets and against St. Louis, then nothing against
Literally
Seattle.
nothing.
It shows you how good Seattle's pitching staff can be when they're healthy,
Yeah. 5 total hits for Pittsburgh here. All of them singles, 2 of them by Tommy Pham. The only run in this game was a Randy Arozarena solo shot. And if you're loving close pitching battles with no offense whatsoever, Pittsburgh goes to Kansas City this week. So another game of probably 1-0 for all 3
8
games.
feet under.
Here you go. Seattle is off tomorrow, and then they go into New York, take on the Yankees on Tuesday. So something has to give there. More fantastic pitching. Tigers at Guardians. Tigers won this one 7-2 in 10 innings. They scored 5 runs and extras for the sweep. And I've got the Guardian side of this. Here's Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians on the creative way that Cleveland managed to lose their 10th consecutive game.
Say when you go to a baseball game, there's a good chance you're going to see something you've never seen before. Very true on Sunday for the Cleveland Guardians. Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians, and the Guardians, they're creative. I'll give them that. They're finding new ways to lose every day. When you lose 10 in a row, you got to get creative about it, right? You can't just win 2-1 every single day. You got to do something different. You're 1 out away from a win. You had your first run in 24 innings. You had your first lead since last week against the Cardinals when you had a 6-run inning. A wild pitch lets the Tigers score in the 9th inning with 2 outs. They had 1 hit all game up until that point. You get to extra innings. Kate Smith allows the first home run he's allowed all year to a hitter, Trey Sweeney, who's never hit a home run off a fastball in his career.
That's true. Yeah.
I've been saying that this can't be as bad as 2012, which is the last time Cleveland baseball's been this miserable. But you want to know what? They are 2 games away from matching their franchise worst losing streak at 12. They're 10 in a row right now, and they get Hunter Brown on Monday, so I don't see how it's going to get any better. And then they eye out Lane Thomas on Sunday and brought up Will Wilson, who was definitely help. I don't know where the bottom is, guys. I don't. Send your flowers, send your fruit basket, stick the fork in it. This thing is over. It's done. This team is not coming back from this. It's not. They do not have it to come back from this. We're going to keep watching the games for you. We're going to keep you informed of what's going on so you don't have to be miserable. Tune in to Locked On Guardians. We'll take the hit for you.
The wildest thing to me about this game is, again, 1 hit entering extras by the Tigers.
Yeah.
Cade Smith owned Detroit in the postseason last year. Like, he pitched in almost every game. I don't think he allowed a single run to them. He gave up 6 runs on 5 hits and only recorded 1 out in the 10th inning. Just like to his point, to Justin's point, miserable. Like Skubal, they didn't lose. Like they didn't make anything happen off of Trick Skubal. No runs in 7 innings. But as soon as he came out, they got on the board.
Yeah.
And then they just couldn't hold it.
Yeah. Like you said, I don't know where bottom is, but this is what happens during these types of streaks that you're going in. The good ones, all the things go your way. The losing streaks, stuff like this happens where a wild pitch torpedoes what would have been a winner for you. And you're just looking around like, we don't know what to do. Somebody get a voodoo doll out. Somebody burn some incense. Do something. Figure it out, because there's a curse on Cleveland right now, and we can't seem to break it.
Help us out here. Yeah. A team that did something that they're hoping can break the curse. Red Sox at Nationals. Boston won this one 6-4, and we're going to talk about the game. But then there was a really prominent firing or two after the game. Yeah. So Garrett Crochet, actually not an amazing start. 2 earned runs over only 5 innings with 9 hits. Yeah. And here's the thing is Washington had 12 total hits. 11 of them were singles. And yet they chased Crochet from the game after 5. But Boston had 12 hits. Trevor Story hit a homer. Zidane Rafaela went 3 for 4 with a homer. And at the end of this whole thing, when this whole thing was done, Washington fired manager Dave Martinez and GM Mike Rizzo a week before the draft where they have the number 1 overall pick. We've got Ryan Clary here from Locked On Nationals. He barely mentions the game. He's just talking about these firings. I think we'll do that for just a split second here too.
The Washington Nationals have fired president of baseball operations Mike Rizzo and manager Davey Martinez. And everybody, the timing makes no sense. Let's start off with Mike Rizzo. The guy who has been with this team since the 2000s has been fired. The guy who is going to be making the number 1 overall pick in literally 1 week. You have fired him right before the MLB draft. And everybody, I cannot stress this enough. The timing makes no sense. What went wrong? I can tell you this: drafting and developing. I look at his track record and I think to myself, it has not been good. Mike Rizzo, he has been great. He has won us a World Series before. He has climbed that mountaintop, but he is down at the bottom as we sit here today. So Mike Rizzo, the president of baseball operations, he is out, and as well as manager Davey Martinez. As the Nationals, they are 5th in the NL East. They just got swept by the Boston Red Sox. And this organization, it might be a mess.
I think something came out after he recorded this about there was a contract decision that had to be made on options for them for 26 that had to be made within the next week. Still feels weird to fire them, but I guess if you're going to fire a GM, you go ahead and you do it before he has a chance to do a whole draft if you don't like his drafting and developing, right? I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't trust the dude anymore, then it's I don't want him making the decision on the number 1 overall pick anymore. Then, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing now. And it's a weird situation in Washington too, because coming into the season, and you still look at it, they got so many really nice young pieces from all of these different trades. That Soto trade has paid off in the right way as far as gathering a lot of talent together. And for whatever reason, it just has not clicked this year the way they thought it was. I mean, Mackenzie Gore has been good. James Wood has obviously been good, but the rest of it just hasn't meshed well. And I thought maybe it was just going to be a firing of Davey Martinez. I thought that a couple of weeks ago. It just looked like a situation where a new voice needed to be in that clubhouse. It didn't look like they were all getting along all that well. And some of the comments he made, we were just kind of I don't know if you can say those things and blame the players for things. That just doesn't work these days. I was surprised, though, that Rizzo was out.
Yeah, that may have been something where Rizzo tried to stand up for him and they both had to go. Who knows what happens there? All right, final game of the first segment here. Angels at Blue Jays. Toronto wins this one 3-2. Another ace that is good but not great. Kevin Gausman, 2 earned runs and 5 2/3, 7 hits, 3 walks. He does strike out 9. Jeff Hoffman gets his 22nd save of the year. He's been rather healthy. 2 teams backed off assigning him for I think elbow or shoulder concerns. He's been pretty fine for them so far. Bo Bichette hits a homer, also has a defensive error, by the way. Kind of think that's funny. Mike Trout goes homer in the first inning. They have 9 hits, but Tyler Anderson, 3 earned runs across 5 innings. And the Angels go 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They have 12 on base. Like that's why they lost. They just couldn't keep up offensively with Toronto, who only left 5 on base because they just cashed in more of these runs than the Angels did. Tomorrow, the Angels are hosting the Rangers, who have also been to a lot of low-scoring games recently. Yeah. Toronto goes to Chicago for the White Sox. It feels like the universe, the baseball gods do not want the do not want the Blue Jays to fall out of first place in the AL East.
Yeah, that's been a very impressive team this year. Even when they weren't winning as many ball games, you could just sense that there was something building with that lineup. They're just a tough lineup to navigate through. They don't strike out very much, so they're very difficult to play against. And now they're playing with all the confidence in the world after what they did to the Yankees. So good luck, Chicago.
There you go. All right, in just a minute, we're going to talk about Brandon Woodruff because he might be not just like back on the mound, but like back. We'll do that next right here on MLB Game Night.
Today's episode being brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You'll be able to track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. Now, buying things online, I'm as guilty as anybody. It can add up quickly. I'm talking groceries, toiletries, pet supplies, food delivery, things for vacation, cabrewing trips on the river. It's so easy to just hit checkout and then move on with your life. But you might not realize how much money is actually going out, and that can be dangerous. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year.
All right, JD. So the Brewers visiting Miami, taking on the Marlins. They win the finale 3-1. But the big story here, according to Chuck Freeman of Locked On Brewers, is not only that Brandon Woodruff was back on the mound, but how good he looked in this outing.
Well, that went a lot better than expected. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Instant Reaction, Locked On Brewers. Brandon Woodruff, his first appearance on the mound in a Major League game since September of 2023. He goes out there on 70 pitches, 6 innings, just 2 hits. He was amazing. I thought he was going to go out there and maybe give him 3 or 4 innings, give up a couple of runs. But he looked like the Brandon Woodruff that we knew from 2022 and before that, dominating out there, and the Marlins had no chance. Gives the Brewers, I think, if he continues to trend in that way, some trade options on a few other guys on this staff. We'll talk about that a little bit later on tonight on the next edition of Locked On Brewers.
So, as somebody who's in this division, JD, no walks, 8 strikeouts, only 5 hard hit balls in 6 innings off of Brandon Woodruff. Are you, as a Cardinals fan, a little bit worried about them adding him to this rotation? Or are you like, okay, it was the first start, it was the Marlins, it'll be fine?
I think I'm hopeful that, it's just the Marlins. But watching Woodruff pitch over the years, and I'm glad that he's back in the league because he dealt with
baseball's better with him
issues. So it's good to see that he made that long trek back and is healthy again, because he's definitely been one of the better pitchers in the league when he was healthy over that time. Remember, it was him and Corbin Burns all the time, that 1-2 punch that they would have. But yeah, the Brewers adding him along with what you already get from Peralta. You've got the Miz that's there now, which is impressing everybody. And the guys that should be worried should be the Cubs, because the Brewers are putting together some stuff. And even though they're not going to spend a whole lot of money, they always seem to find a way recently in the last couple of years to get right back in. And they're not that far behind Chicago, as good as the Cubs have been. The Brewers have not gone away and actually have gotten better over time. And having Yelich be healthy, Chorio starting to heat up a little bit. If they get Contreras going, it's a dangerous team.
Yeah, we'll see how they do this week. They host the Dodgers starting on Monday while the Marlins are over in Cincinnati. But speaking of your Cardinals, took on in Wrigley, taking on the Cubs. Cubs had an 11-0 win. You guys have been shut out 6 times in your last 11 games. Sam Olber is a little more he's loving what he's seeing from his Cubbies right now.
Day where Matthew Boyd was rightfully selected to the All-Star team and a day where Seiya Suzuki was wrongfully left off the All-Star team. Both guys led the Cubs to a dominant victory against the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast, and Sunday night was just that, a dominant performance by the Cubs, and that's a sign of not only a very good team, but a great team. You have a great performance on Monday. You drop one on Saturday. One of your best relievers had a bad day. It happens. And then you come back in the rubber match on Sunday night and take care of business from start to finish. It was the Cubs' day, the Cubs baseball game. And we talked about it last Sunday at this very time. This was an important homestand, an important time to start stacking some wins. 5 out of 6, the Cubs did just that, gained a couple games on the Brewers, now a 4-game lead, and they roll into the last week before the All-Star break, feeling really good about themselves, hopefully with a lot of trades coming. Just a really great overall week for the Cubs, and I'm excited to see if they can keep it rolling in Minnesota, and the trade rumors are swirling.
Real quick, JD, do you think that your Cardinals getting this homestand here to close out before the break, Nationals and Braves? You think you guys can get back in the win column here and have some momentum going into the All-Star break with those two teams?
I sure hope so. They're dealing with a lot of problems right now. Wilson Contreras has dealt with some injuries from getting hit by pitches. Nolan Arenado out with a shoulder impingement right now.
Yeah.
Arguably their best right-handed hitter, Ivan Herrera, he's on the shelf right now and try to come back. He won't be back till after the All-Star break. So it's not looking great. And then you've got two guys in the rotation that are just getting hammered by people. Eric Fetty, who only lasted an inning and a third today. Wasn't supposed to be a bullpen game today. And Ollie had the quick hook on him because he was just hoping that the bullpen could rescue them and make the game, keep it competitive. And that didn't happen. They ended up getting smashed anyway. Miles Michaelis has not been very good for about a month now. Eric Fetty, by the way, Lindsay, last 3 games, he's lost 8-0, 7-0, and 11-0. Like, he's just been.
Hey, that's not awful. Good, JD. That's
no. And, even if the offense does score, you see those zeros there, and you're like, well, I mean, they're not scoring for him either, but still 8, 7, and it doesn't matter. Like, teams aren't expected to score that many runs, and it's a real problem. And a lot of the fan base is starting to be like, all right, we just want to see the kids. We're not going to win anything this year. We get it. But if you can win 4 out of 6 in this next homestand before the All-Star break, I mean, you're still right there for the wild card, shockingly, because you would think after the way things have been going that they would have fallen off more by now, but hasn't happened. But, people are wondering if it's time to start turning these veterans over and just moving on.
You're 5 games over 500, a game out from the wild card, and people want to sell. That is wild. All right, Yankees at Mets. Yankees avoid the sweep in this one, 6-4 win. Max Fried was, again, good but not great. 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts. Devin Williams gets a scoreless 9th with 2 strikeouts for the save. Austin Wells homered for the Yankees. Aaron Judge hit his 33rd homer. I keep forgetting how many home runs both he and Cal Raleigh have. It's nuts. The Mets had a bullpen game here, which it feels like they are so close to getting back both Shamanaya and Kodai Senga that they shouldn't have to do many of these anymore. They had 10 hits in this one, but every single one of those was a single. And did you see the double play from Cody Bellinger?
I did not. What happened?
Yes. So Francisco Lindor's on first. Juan Soto hits one of those soft liners to left. And Bellinger on a full sprint just goes down and gets it right off the deck, fires to first, beats Lindor with the throw for the double play. Soto had no clue what was going on. Lindor was Lindor didn't even slide into the bag. He had no idea the throw was even coming in. He just did that. It's slow down, deaccelerate into the bag thing and was out. It was a fantastic play. They had to review it to make sure it didn't hit the ground first. It didn't. Great play from Bellinger in left. He made the throw on the fly from left field.
Yeah, take small plays. It's little things like that. When the Yankees are struggling the way they are to turn things around, it's stuff like that. Those kind of plays, bunting, moving people over, getting the sack fly situational. Hey, those are the little things that can break you out of it. So good for Belly, not giving up on the play and taking advantage of somebody who wasn't, I guess, paying attention quite as much as he should have been.
Exactly. All right. If you want to take Royals Diamondbacks, that'll leave me keyed up to take my Orioles Braves disaster for the final game of this segment. So go ahead.
Well, we were talking about the Royals and how good their pitching staff has been. Now the offense has struggled for most of the year, but the Royals pull off a very Royals game and they win this one 4-0. Michael Lorenzen, one of the buffest pitchers you will ever see in Major League Baseball. I once arm wrestled him, by the way, when he was in Cincinnati. I lost. 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs for Michael, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He was excellent. 8 hits for the Kansas City Royals, including solo home runs by Salvi, Bobby Witt Jr. as well, Pasquantino 2 for 4, Kyle Isbell 2 for 4 as well. Arizona's offense just 3 hits, 1 double from Randall Grichuk and 2 singles. Kansas City will be hosting the Pirates, as you mentioned earlier, so quite a pitcher's duel, I'm sure it'll be. And then Arizona's going to be visiting the San Diego Padres, who we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, more divisional matchups there. All right, Orioles Braves. Orioles win in the Truist Park, got the sweep here, 2-1 win. Trevor Rogers had an ERA over 6 in his career against Atlanta. He goes 6 2/3 scoreless, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Jackson Holiday leading off, 4 for 4. He's a triple away from the cycle in this one. Like, they only go 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position, but they beat Atlanta because Atlanta only has 7 hits. Only 2 of them for extra bases. Sean Murphy has a homer in the 9th to get them on the board. But in the 7th, I've never seen this before. He had a double. The ball hit the wall, not the vertical face of the wall. It hit the cap on top of the wall and bounced back into the field of play for a double. Atlanta obviously stranded him at second base. They never got him in. They went 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position in this on Sunday, and 3 for 23 in this series. That's how you get swept by a team. So Baltimore hosts the Mets starting Monday. The Braves are off. They already flew out to Sacramento to take on the A's Tuesday through Thursday before they head your direction to take on your Cardinals for the final series before the All-Star break. When we come back from break, the Astros and the Dodgers wrap up their series, and Brett from Locked On Astros has some words for Dodgers fans. We'll do that next right here on MLB Game Night. Welcome back to MLB Game Night. Lindsey Crosby, JD Haffron, and the Astros took down the Dodgers 5-1. And H-Town Wheelhouse Brett from Locked On Astros had some words for Dodgers fans about not whining about the loss.
The Houston Astros outscored the Dodgers 29-6. Wow, that was a shellacking. And I don't want to hear Dodgers fans go, oh, but we have injuries. We're dealing with injuries. No, you aren't. You've got Ohtani. You've got Freeman. You've got Will Smith. You've got Mookie Betts. Those 4 guys right there alone should be able to take on this team, right? Didn't seem to affect the outcome in the way of the Dodgers, but it simply is one of those things where you got to take it on the chin, kids. I actually am talking with a Dodgers fan right now, and he sent me some respect. Hey, man, good job. You know, if we play you guys again in 2017 Classic rematch, we better get our crap together or we're going to get swept. That's right. Look, I'm not saying the Astros are going to the World Series, but I am saying that if there is a team in 2025 out of the AL West that can do it, it is absolutely the always inevitable Houston Astros. If they make it, it'll be a 9th straight year in the playoffs. I want them to get to that number 12 that the Braves got to. I want to see a longer streak. The golden age is not over. Hello, League. Wake up, because objects in mirror may be closer than they appear. Why? Because we're built like this.
I will point out for the Braves, it was 14 consecutive division titles. Just want to throw that out there. As a Braves fan, it was 14. But no, like, Houston seems to do this every year, okay? I don't know who Ryan Gusto is, but he threw 6 innings with 1 run against the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah.
Zach Short has been DFA'd by 37 teams in baseball, and they signed him a couple days ago to replace Jeremy Pena, and he goes 3 for 3 with a run and an RBI from the 9th spot in the order. Like, it's on the shirt. the Houston Astros are inevitable, and I'm just waiting to figure out how the universe makes it happen this year, JD.
They try. They're like, we're going to take Yordan Alvarez away from you, and you don't get that toy this year. That we're keeping him. No big deal. We'll just move on. I mean, give it up to the pitching. Give it up to everybody, man. Hunter Brown has been amazing. Framber Valdez has been amazing. They just keep cooking in Houston, and more power to them.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. Okay, White Sox at Rockies. Rockies seem to always win the finales if they're in danger of getting swept. It's like the one thing they're good at is the finale. They win the 6-4. Chase Dolander, the top prospect for them, not a great start. 3 2/3, 3 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. But Mickey Moniak is a double shy of the cycle. He has a leadoff homer to start the game. 3 RBI, 3 for 4. Flip side for this, Shane Smith, 4 1/3, 5 earned runs. He was their Rule 5 pick. He's cooled off a little bit in the last month or so, but named to the All-Star team today. Todd from Locked On White Sox had some great words about that. Go check those out over on Locked On White Sox. And the big thing here, the prospect Colson Montgomery keeps raking. 2 for 3, RBI, a walk. We'll see what happens. They host Toronto this week. They get a first-place team, while the Rockies are heading to Boston to take on the Red Sox. I guess if you've got Rays Twins, I'll take
more than
Giants
happy
A's.
to talk about the Rays. I'm a secret fan of those Tampa Bay Rays. They avoid the sweep. 7-5 win in 10 innings. Drew Rasmussen, 2 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run. But they called up Joe Boyle, who was really good in his 1 spot start so far this year.
That was
and
against us.
Right back down.
That was against us.
He comes up and dominates once again. He's dominating down in AAA, and they bring him back up. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned, a walk, and 7 Ks. So something where I think they're playing 7 games in 7 days. So another start might be on the horizon for Boyle. But Tampa Bay 11 hits, but only 2 doubles and a homer. Yandy Diaz 2 for 5, 2 runs and RBI. Jonathan Aranda 3 for 5, 2 ribbies. He's been a hell of a story for Tampa Bay this year. So
argument he could have been an all-star.
Yeah. And they pick up the win 7-5 in 10. Twins are off. They'll host the Cubs on Tuesday. Rays are heading to take on them Tigers against Detroit.
Gritty Tiggs that's gonna be a good matchup there. All right, Giants at A's. Giants won the finale of this one 6-2. The late game, I had no idea they were playing a 10 o'clock game on Sunday. It almost never happens. Hayden Birdsong, 5 innings, 1 run, 5 walks, and 3 hits, but 6 strikeouts. The Giants get some good production from the middle infield. Willie Adames homers, Tyler Fitzgerald homers. Rafi Devers goes 2 for 3 with a run and a double. The A's were challenging in the 9th. They got the bases loaded in the 9th. Tying run was on deck, and they just couldn't seem to get it done. They did have a Tyler Soderstrom homer, but other than that, just not a lot of hits with runners in scoring position. So the Giants are hosting Philly. I think we mentioned that earlier. And the A's get Atlanta starting on Tuesday. And then final game was another very quiet one. Rangers-Padres. San Diego won that one 4-1. Bullpen game for San Diego. You see a lot of these, I feel like, right before the All-Star break because you just don't want to call a guy up and then mess his schedule up there. Flip side, though, kind of like you had with your Cardinals game, the Rangers had one too. Jack Leiter only goes 3 2/3, so they have to go do it and do that as well.
Yep.
But just no offense there. Tatis's 2 for 3 was enough to get the win there. Rangers are in LA to take on the Angels. Padres are hosting Arizona, as we mentioned. JD, any final thoughts on the Sunday that was across Major League Baseball?
Pitching, man. Pitching always beats good hitting. And if you don't believe it, just look at the games that happened today on Sunday because there was a lot of good pitching out there. And, it's going to be a lot of teams are going to be looking for it at the trade deadline coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yep. For JD Haffron, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.